It was a nice and mild day out there, but we did have some fires. Well, look at that coming up.
More evacuation orders are issued as wildfires wreak havoc on Southern California. The latest on containment efforts are coming up on the Weekend Edition.
Now, the most watched news in the Panhandle. News Channel 10's Weekend Edition.
First tonight, Amarillo police are investigating a homicide in North Amarillo. Early this morning, officers were called to the 800 block of Moore Street on shots fired. When they arrived, they found 23-year-old Joshua Daniels with a gunshot wound to the upper body. He was taken to a local hospital where he later died. An autopsy has been ordered and no arrests have been made at this time. Anyone with information about this case is asked to call Special Crimes at 378-9468. Well, our warmer December weather continues this week. For a first look at our forecast, let's send it over to meteorologist Cameron Venable live in the Storm Track Center. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Cassie, yes, it was a nice and mild day today. If we look at some of these highs, we actually hit some 70s out there. We had 70 in Canadian, 73 in Childress, 67 here in Amarillo. Safe to say a very nice day, and it would have been great if we didn't get any fires, but we did have a couple fires out there. Starting to cool off now. You can see all kinds of temperatures across the area. We have 29 in Hereford, 43 here in Amarillo, and even some 50s out there. So it all depends on if you are radiationally cooling faster. Let's take a look at the winds. And as you can see right there, winds aren't too bad, mainly from a southwest downsloping direction at about 5 to 15 miles per hour. Now, even though this isn't your textbook fire danger week, it has been so dry that more or less elevated fire danger does exist every day this week, so we'll have to monitor that. Now let's send it back to news.
Alrighty, thank you, Cameron. Randall County fire crews worked to contain a grass fire this afternoon. They were called to the fire around 2:30 just south of Loop 335 near Western Street. We're told the fire started in a large field of CRP grass and stretched from southwestern Street towards South Georgia. Authorities say the fire created a large amount of smoke, causing Western to close while they battled the flames.
The fire was moving kind of west-northwest and into a field with a very, very good fuel. I mean, the grass was really tall there. So it created lots of smoke. We were lucky that the winds were low, and we were lucky that there were no structures involved. We did evacuate one church. For safety reasons, it did get a little smoke inside, but there was no heat or fire damage to the church or any other structures.
Amarillo police say evacuations were in place for homes nearby as well. The fire was contained around 4, and the cause remains under investigation. More than 230,000 acres have burned in California in just 1 week. The Thomas Fire destroyed more than 750 structures and is threatening nearly 15,000 more buildings. 4,400 firefighters are battling the blaze, but it is only 15% contained. It's the largest wildfire the Los Angeles area has seen since 1961. At least one person has died while trying to flee the flames. The Thomas Fire is one of 6 other fires burning in Southern California. Well, some Hurricane Harvey victims don't have any Christmas decorations left over, so one group is helping them make this holiday season complete. Ashley Portillo has more on the Harvey holiday spirit.
All right, thank you.
For many storm victims, their holiday may not feel like the norm. Their Christmas decorations likely taken by Harvey. But the Child Train, a nonprofit based out of San Antonio, wants to make sure these victims still celebrate the holiday with a Christmas tree and trimmings.
It's amazing that they have really gone out of their way and really done so much for the community and for my family also.
With the help of the Aransas Pass Police Department, the Child Train came up with a list of who needed a tree. Then they began handing out the early Christmas present to nearly 100 households. One of those trees went to Rosa Villanueva and her family. Hi. She received a phone call with the news.
Dice, Rosa, you got it. Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. I got it. I'm very happy.
Villanueva has 3 grandchildren who would have celebrated Christmas without a tree.
This is for my grandson. Not for us, for my grandson.
But thanks to the chow train, they now have a tree, ornaments, lights, and even a tree skirt.
Merry Christmas from the chow train. Thank you again.
Some of those trees delivered, others picked up.
Thank you so much.
And nothing but smiles for those who received them.
Well, as we begin a new work week, we have a look at some area lane closures that might cause you a delay. On Loop 335, both east and westbound lanes of traffic will be shifted for patching operations from Osage Street to 34th Avenue. On Washington Road, various lanes will be closed from Loop 335 to 46th Avenue for crack seal operations. And you can expect various lane closures at the downtown interchange for tree and shrub removal as well. Now, to see a full list of lane closures in our area, visit our website at newschannel10.com. A local restaurant is feeding those who need it most this holiday season. More on how they aim to help Amarillo's homeless next on the Weekend Edition.
Take a look at another mild week coming up after the break.
And now, News Channel 10's First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Cameron Venable.
Well, what ended up being a warmer day actually had a chilly start to the morning.
That's typically how it is in the Panhandle, but what I'm surprised about is some of these lows out there. Let's take a look at this right here. So 17 degrees in Hereford. Had a feeling they might drop into the 20s, teens. All right then. 19 degrees in Canadian. Lots of 20s out there as expected, and a couple 30s. Let's take a look right here. We warmed up to about 67 degrees. That's about a 38-degree diurnal cycle from the low to the high. That is a pretty nice spectrum. And we also did hit some 70s out there, 70 in Canadian, as well as 73 in Childress. There's a possibility Childress might be able to hit those 70s yet again tomorrow. Let's take a look right here. The warmer pattern will continue. This is not your textbook fire danger where you have very warm temperatures, strong winds, and dry conditions. We just have the winds and the dry conditions. And so that basically means each and every day there is a elevated chance of fire danger. Speaking of fires, we had another one today. Walk outside my apartment, boom, there it is. Big old smoke plume. Not something you want to see. And then the 806 Storm Chasers got right on the fire front. And you can see right here the fire, the transmission lines, that church. Church was all right, bit of smoke damage though, but at least they didn't take any damage from the fire. K. McKnight right here, pretty much anyone in Amarillo, you face to the south, this is exactly what you saw. Another great photo right here from Susanna Luna. I mean, look how detailed the smoke plume is. I was probably at the peak of the fire, but thankfully the fire is contained. And hopefully let's not deal with any more fires. Let's take a look at the wind track forecast. We're starting off with southwest winds, then we go to the west and the northwest. They do pick up a little bit, nothing all that ridiculous. We'll say about 10 to 15, maybe a gust to 20. Winds do taper by tomorrow night. Looking at the temperatures overnight tonight, I'd say roughly the same as this morning, 20s and 30s. And then we are warming to the 60s again. Maybe some 70s in Childress, so they will be the warmest spot. Let's take a look the next few days. 60s, 59 on Tuesday as well as 53 on Thursday associated with cold frontal passages. But as you can see, 50s and 60s, you can't go wrong with that this time of year. Let's take a look at some of these lows. We'll be in the 30s for the most part. We'll have 27 on Tuesday morning, 29 on Friday morning. Almost up to 40 degrees on Saturday morning though, then back to 32, a lot more seasonal out there. Tonight we are looking at 30 degrees, clear skies, and cold. Let's take a look at 60 degrees tomorrow. Actually, that should be 63 degrees. I didn't update that. But 63 degrees, still no clouds, rain, snow, nothing really in the forecast, unfortunately. We do have that fire danger each and every day, but it really gets towards critical levels. We're talking Friday as well as Saturday. You can see southwest winds 15 to 20, and then we have west winds at 30, possibly gusting to 40 or even 50. Still 5 to 6 days out, this could change, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed it changes because we don't need any more fires. But 50s and 60s all week long, 20s and 30s. Overall, the pattern is looking very calm, but perhaps in the future, we're saying maybe a week, 2 weeks, the pattern may start to break down. So there is hope on the horizon, but it's still very far away. We will have to keep praying for the old rain dance to bring us some rain or snow.
Definitely. We're going to have to get outside while we can this week with these temperatures.
Yes, because I'm sure we're going to bounce back to 30s and 40s like we did last week.
Before you know it.
Before you know it.
Alrighty, thank you, Cameron. Well, when we come back, area veterans are getting a helping hand with Christmas presents. More on how this event is helping our servicemen and women during the holidays when we return to the Weekend Edition on News Channel 10.
A local restaurant is opening their doors and giving back to the community. Giving back to the... Oh. Yes, a local restaurant is opening their doors and giving back to the homeless in our area. News Channel 10's Cassie Stafford joins us now live.
Now, the most watched news in the Panhandle. News Channel 10's Weekend Edition.
A local restaurant is opening their doors and giving back to the homeless in our area. News Channel 10's Destiny Richards joins us now live in the News Center with more on their humble act of kindness.
Leal's hosted a special banquet this evening for Amarillo's homeless to come in and enjoy a free meal, music, and some entertainment. I spoke with staff and volunteers at the restaurant who say they consider the homeless to be neighbors and treated them as honored guests. Leal's often opens their doors to people in need, but this evening they opened their arms to Amarillo's homeless as a community.
Our job in life, is to be servers, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're made for this. I mean, this is everybody's duty, and we're just trying to help everybody out that we can.
This is their first time hosting a large group of homeless people. However, they say serving others is something that comes natural.
We do this often, very often, and we feel like it's our duty just as servers and just being in the service industry. It's just our duty to help our fellow neighbors out.
Restaurant owner Victor Leal organized the event, and many volunteers helped throughout the evening. Faith City Mission even bussed in some of their members, making it a full house.
We're moving people in and out, having a blessed evening, getting to feed a lot of people. It's just the kindness of the Leal's restaurant, the employees. It's just a family gathering right now.
The restaurant hopes this event helps the homeless during a time of year when most are struggling.
It doesn't take but a couple of minutes out of our time to make their whole day, and that's what we're here for.
Leal's plans to have more events like this in the future to help the homeless in our community. Reporting live in the News Center, Destiny Richards, News Channel 10.
An area veterans group is providing Christmas presents for those at the VA this week. The American Legion Auxiliary is setting up a Christmas gift shop for residents of the Thomas E. Creek VA Medical Center tomorrow morning at 10. The shop will allow residents to shop for free and provide gifts to their loved ones. Last year, the group was able to provide 180 veterans with gifts. The event will be in the Community Living Center Recreation Room at the VA. Well, it looks like negotiations are to come this week on Capitol Hill. House and Senate members are trying to work out their tax reform differences and deliver a big item on the president's holiday wish list.
And I can think of no better Christmas present for the American people than giving you a massive tax cut.
Echoing his Pensacola speech on Friday, President Trump tweeted this morning about the stock market's record highs, the unemployment rate 17-year low, and the tax cut bill getting closer. He then played golf in West Palm Beach with Republican Senator Lindsey Graham in an effort to shore up GOP support amid mounting headwinds.
I don't know where the bill is going to come out.
Cautiously optimistic Republican Senator Susan Collins is withholding support until she sees the final version. Collins wants her amendment to eliminate automatic cuts to Medicare included.
But I don't want seniors to have the anxiety of wondering whether the tax bill somehow is going to trigger a cut in Medicare.
You can save my life.
During a Thursday flight back to Arizona, Republican Senator Jeff Flake was implored by a passenger suffering with ALS, who is also a Democratic activist, to vote no on the bill.
My life depends on it.
Most of the country disapproves of the GOP tax plan. CBS News found only 20% of Americans think it would decrease their taxes, with 76% feeling large corporations benefit most. Senator Richard Shelby of Alabama, who supports the bill, disagrees.
It's a lot of relief for a lot of the working people, middle class. It's probably something for just about everybody in the bill.
This is now crunch time for President Trump's domestic agenda. House and Senate lawmakers meet this week, aiming to get a final tax bill to the Oval Office by Christmas, and delicate negotiations are underway between Democrats and Republicans on funding priorities to avoid a government shutdown by the end of the year. Errol Barnett, CBS News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
The Dallas Cowboys keep their playoff hopes alive, and 3 area teams are still in pursuit of state championships. DJ has a preview next on the Weekend Edition. Stay with us.
Mic check 1 2. Check check check. Microphone check on a Sunday evening. Let's finish on a high note.
And now, sports with DJ Ezel.
Then there were 3. After starting the weekend with 9 teams still alive in the postseason, the Texas Panhandle is represented by a 3A team and 2 2A teams. And those 3 teams are making their 25th combined trip to the semifinals since 1998. We'll start with Canadian, who have been impressive throughout the playoffs, on their way to a 14-0 record. They survived a close game against Childress Friday night to earn their place in the state semifinals. Next up is undefeated Gunter, who hasn't allowed more than 13 points in a game this postseason. And that game will be Friday night in Vernon, with kickoff set for 7 o'clock in the Battle of the Undefeateds. Stratford has been on quite a roll this season, with their lone loss coming at the hands of Canadian way back in the 3rd game of the season. They needed overtime to get past Panhandle at the start of district play and have crushed everyone in their path since, including the rematch against Panhandle Friday night in Dumas, which they won 61-7. They faced Martin in the state semifinal, who are riding a 13-game winning streak after dropping their first game of the season. This one's on Thursday night in Snyder with 2 dominating teams. Should be a good one down at Tiger Stadium. And finally, we have Wellington in 2A Division II, who also are on a 13-game winning streak, losing their first game of the season to Childress by 1 point. The most points that they've given up all season in the game was 22, and that game wasn't even close. The Skyrockers have played suffocating defense throughout the playoffs, posting 2 shutouts, including shutting out Clarendon Friday night in Childress. They prepare to face undefeated Munster. Also another Thursday night game, this one in Vernon. Munster will be Wellington's most vigorous challenge yet, who have dominated just about everyone on their schedule. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. Cowboys taking on the Giants. Their Giants are up 10-3 in the second when Dak finds Des Bryant, who breaks a tackle, then breaks off the long one. Ties the game at 10. Big catch for him. He dropped a couple big passes early. 4th quarter, it's still tied at 10. Prescott going to the future Hall of Famer Jason Witten, pulls it in for the score, 17-10 Dallas. And the Cowboys break it wide open. Prescott over the middle to Rod Smith, and he's going to outrun everyone. 81 yards to the house as the Cowboys would dominate in this one, 30-10. Game was a lot closer than that score. Prescott threw for a career-high 332 yards with 3 touchdowns. Head coach Jason Garrett spoke on his quarterback.
He just kept his poise. He threw the ball underneath when he needed to, made some plays with his feet, and then when the time came, when they heated us up, there was a chance to make a play down the field, he cashed in on it.
Yeah, I mean, they were great. Those big plays needed them. I mean, obviously, they were great when they hit. They were fun to watch those guys run and do what they do best. Yeah, it was a grind. It was a grind early. It was a grind all throughout the game, and we were finally able to get some momentum, get going, and it got good right there in the 4th.
49ers taking on the Texans. We're going to pick this one up with 59 seconds to go in the first half. 10-3 Niners. TJ Yates in for the injured Tom Savage finds DeAndre Tompkins for the touchdown. They missed the extra point. It would be 10-9. Now it's 13-9 in the 3rd. Yates fakes the handoff, lobs it up to Hopkins, who makes the great catch in the corner of the end zone. 16-13 Texans. Now it's tied at 16, and Jimmy Garoppolo on the play fake finds Garrett Sellett for the touchdown as the Niners get the win in this one, 26-16. Jets taking on the Broncos. First quarter, it's 3-0 Denver. Trevor Siemian under pressure, unloads to Demarius Thomas, makes the great adjustment at the end zone, makes it 10-0 Broncos. Now it's 13-0 in the 3rd, and Andy Janovic going to get in from close range. That makes it 20-0. Then later in the 3rd, Josh McCown under pressure, gets sacked by Von Miller. He'd end up leaving the game with a broken hand. Now it's 20-0 in the 4th, and the Broncos just going to put a little icing on the cake as Brandon McManus gets the field goal. The Broncos get the shutout, snapping an 8-game losing streak, 23-0. Packers taking on the Browns. First quarter, it's 21-7 Browns with Jamal Williams going untouched to make it a touchdown for the Packers, 21-14. Now with 21 seconds remaining, Brett Hundley goes to Devontae Adams, and that will send us to overtime. Then in overtime, Deshaun Kaiser Makes an unadvised throw. He's under pressure, should just take the sack. Arm gets hit as he throws, and it's going to be picked off by Josh Jones. That gives the Packers the short field, and Hundley will make them pay. Goes back to Adams, breaks a tackle. He's gone. 25 yards for the walk-off. Back-to-back weeks, the Packers have won with overtime touchdowns. Playoff hopes stay alive. Eagles taking on the Rams. 24-21 in the third. Donnie Jones blocked punt there by Mike Thomas. Blake Countess scoops it and scores. 28-24 Rams. Then later in the third, Carson Wentz. Critical moment for the Eagles here. He's going to run it in. The play's going to be called back, but see that hit there? Knee gets injured. Eagles fear it's a torn ACL. Season could be over. Wentz would finish the drive off with the touchdown, but that might have been his last play of the season. Fourth quarter now, it's 37-35 Eagles. Rams needing a miracle. Tavon Austin's ball. Oh, it gets picked when he's trying to lateral it. Brandon Graham snatches it out of the air. Eagles get the win 43-35, and they clinch the NFC East. Although how far they'll go in the playoffs now without their star quarterback is a big question.
I was going to say that hit looked pretty gnarly out there.
He's having a great season. You always hate for injuries to happen to anyone out there.
Definitely. And I know you're a big Packers fan. What a win today in overtime.
And Aaron Rodgers very well could be back next week. And so the season, I don't know, the Packers aren't out of it. They still have a shot.
We'll see what happens. Alrighty, thank you, DJ. We'll have a final look at the forecast right after the break.